We're about to go into the third round, but before we do that, we're going to go to the judges. Now, judges, remember this is their third and final round, so if it's something that y'all want to see, let them know. Any critiques, let them know. We're going to switch it up and start with Ashe this time.
Man, I'm definitely loving the scholarship. Like I said, it's continuation of the scholarship. But what I'm really loving, I'm loving Humble Mystic presentation, man. I'm really loving what I'm getting. I'm loving the historical accounts. I'm loving the walk that we actually going. From GD, I would actually like to see a lot of more like literal historical accounts and not just, you know, um, kind of like doctrine-esque type things, like the Josephus and things of that nature, you know. But I do appreciate the delays. I'm not going to demean that. I'm not going to act like you didn't do that. You did your thing with the delays, and you brought out some great information. But I want to see Israel ruling in the land of Egypt. I want to see them ruling. I want to see them being these rulers that the Hyksos are supposed to be. That's it.
Okay, JMO, we're going to you. Oh, and just a reminder to the judges, please, please, please still be marking your points from round 1, 2, and 3, and we'll be getting into those at the end. JMO, it's on you.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I've been doing that as well. Like I said earlier, I'm not going to, tell the debaters how the seven, put their information out there. I think they're both skilled enough to know what they need to do as far as, convincing the judges and the people that's in the comments and stuff like that. Um, like I said, just, do what you do, keep up the good work. I'm liking the information coming from both ends. Like I said, but I'm gonna save a lot of my questions and stuff for the very, very end. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah,
Because we
do
pressed for
what you
time.
feel. No, do what you
Yeah,
feel. Ain't nobody here to
we
judge
pressed
you.
for time.
You good. God Energy is on you.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what JMO was saying. I just also want to remind both of the competitors to be mindful of maybe points and pieces of data that you've restated, a few times, so you can introduce as much new information as you have. So maybe the grace periods won't be so confusing or necessary because you're making sure you're bringing new data each time instead of repeating points and things that you've stated already.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Like I said, nobody's here to judge the judges. However you want to judge this is on y'all. So, with that being said, we are going to go into the third and final round, and this round will be starting with Humble. Kiss, Humble. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let them know
Whenever
when you're
you're
ready.
ready. Mm-hmm. Here we go. We got 7 minutes. 7 minutes.
All right. I'm ready when you is, sis. All right.
Mm-hmm.
This is my third round, y'all. Debate presentation. It is impossible, just as y'all heard in my first two rounds, it is impossible for the Hyksos and the Israelites to be the same group of people. Open an argument. The proposition that the Hyksos and Israelites are the same group is untenable due to due to significant historical and archaeological and social discrepancies. While both groups share a Semitic origin, their roles, timelines, and cultural identity differ. Fundamentally, scholarly consensus overwhelmingly rejects this identification, as demonstrated by experts such as John Van Seters, William G. Denver, Kenneth Kitchen, and Wolfgang Hecklet. Key argument: social status discrepancies. I ain't gonna go through that because we already know that they were rulers and the Israelites were slaves. Chronological inconsistencies. The expulsions of the Hyksos by Moses the First occurred centuries before the traditional biblical timelines for the Exodus. So this is another way of how we know that these two groups of people are not the same, even if there were people trying to conflate these two things. Historically, when you go to history, you can see that these two events did not take place during the same timeline. Kenneth Kitchen highlights that attempts to conflate these events fail due to mismatched chronological and historical context. 3. Cultural, political identities. The Hyksos adopted Egyptian customs and ruled as distinct political entities. Wolfgang Hellick argues that they maintain a unique identity separate from other Semitic groups. The Israelites, however, are portrayed as a distinct cultural religious group with no evidence of ever ruling Egypt. So I wanna appeal to the judge really fast. One of the judges said, I would like to see the Israelites ruling Egypt. You will never see any information of the Israelites ruling Egypt because they never ruled Egypt. It doesn't matter how many times people try to conflate the timelines. History and fact is just history and fact. The Israelites never ruled Egypt. There's no evidence of this. Archaeological evidence. William G. Denver emphasizes that no archaeological data supports a direct link between the Hyksos expulsion and the Israelite exodus or settlements in Canaan. The material culture of the Hyksos align more closely with Canaanite traditions rather than those associated with early Israelite settlements. So that goes back to what I was saying in my second round, right? When you see how the Levant is set up, and you see their settlements, and you see their agriculture, and you see their pottery, and you see their religious practices, it stemmed towards more of the northern Levant region more than the southern Levant region. Manetho's misinterpretation. Manetho's identification of the Hyksos with the Israelites cited by Josephus is widely critiqued as conflating two distinct traditions. Scholars like John Van Setters argue that this connection stems from later Ptolemaics rather than historical realities. Scholarly support. John Van Statter is born. So this right here is the people, the scholars that I just named at the top. John Van Statter, born May 2nd, 1935, in Himalayan, Ontario, is a prominent Canadian Canadian scholar specializing in the Hebrew Bible. So John specializes in these things. He specializes in the Hebrew Bible and ancient Near East. He is currently university distinguished professor and emeritus at the University of North Carolina, where he previously held the James A. Gray Professorship in Biblical Literature. So John Van Satchers is just not anybody. He's literally out here doing the work. All right. Um, William G. Denver is an American archaeologist and scholar specializing in the history and archaeology of ancient Israel and the Near East during biblical times. Born November 27th, 1933, he earned his PhD from Harvard University in 1966 that served, I would like to use my time, and served as professor of Near Eastern archaeology and anthropology at the University of Arizona from 1975 to 2002. Again, as we see, he is another person who's in the field. This is just not no run of the mill person. He's in the field. He's doing excavations. He's the one bringing firsthand accounts back and saying, this is what this is. He's the one going over with his eyewitness testimony saying, this is what this is. Archaeology, archaeology disproved any direct association between the Hyksos expulsion and the Israelite history. Kenneth Kitchens, born 1932, is a distinguished British biblical scholar and Egyptologist. And so I want to stop there really fast because here we have three people, right, who are scholars, who are anthropologists, who are Egyptologists, who deal with biblical things. And these people are even saying these two people are not the same. Wolfgang Heckler, Wolfgang Helek, 1914 to 1993, was a prominent German Egyptologist recognized as one of the leading figures in the field during the 20th century. He serves as a professor at the University of Hamburg from 1956 until his retirement in 1979. Helek made significant contributions to the study of ancient Egyptian history and culture, authoring numerous books and articles, including the works on Egyptian kingship and historical chronology. He was also involved in publication
1
at
minute.
Langston. Okay. He has a lasting impact on Egyptology and understanding the ancient Near Eastern cultures. The Hyksos, and this is what he said, the Hyksos maintained a separate identity as rulers distinct from enslaved populations like the Israelites. So here these people saying that, hey, these people are different. How do we know they're different? Because we went to these sites ourselves and we did the experiments ourselves, and these are the results we came with. We not saying they're different because a book told us so. We're not saying they're different because later scholars told us so. We're saying they're different because we're seeing this evidence with our own eyes. Conclusion: the evidence overwhelmingly demonstrates that it is impossible for the Hyksos and Israelites to be the same group of people. Differences in social roles, timelines, cultural identities, and archaeological findings distinctively refute the claim. Attempts to link them rely on misinterpretations of ancient texts rather than credible historical evidence.
Yeah. Good times. Good times. Good times. Good times. Mm-hmm. There you go, guys. I hope you all are sending that password so y'all can share it on the battery. Because that's a nice penny going on around in parts. So, with that being said, Capone, what you got?
All
What you
right.
got?
So give me a minute.
Give it all you got.
This the rebuttal, right?
That's
Keep
all I can
rising
say.
to the top.
Okay.
So
Give
Sorry.
it all you got.
Yeah.
so all I heard was that Manito don't know what he's talking about. Josephus don't know what he's talking about. But you say that this topic is debated among scholars, right? And it's funny that you quoted European scholars who want to hide the fact that the Israelites had an existence in Egypt. They want to hide that fact historically. And this is what I mean by history. Remember, the name of Israel will be of no remembrance. I showed you that in the Bible. So now let me show you something else real quick. Let's go right here. Right? Oh no, is this, do I want to bring this out right here? Well, I'll bring it out right here. So, oh, come on. Every time. can't, make, can't make this up. So right here, this is Deuteronomy 28 and 37. And it says, and thou shalt become an astonishment and a proverb and a byword among all the nations whither the Lord shall lead you. Right? So you're not going to read in history where it's going to say Israelite. It's going to say, sometimes it's going to say Habaru. Sometimes it's going to say Hyksos. Sometimes it's going to say Amu or Canaanite or what's the other one? Or Levant or semi Syrian Palestinian. Or Levantine, it's going to use these words to hide the fact that they're talking about the children of Israel and they're talking about the land of Canaan. They're going to use this word. Another thing, the name Israel didn't come into existence until 1948, right? So it's really Yehuda. I mean, no, Slakia, Israel, right? Or Yasha Allah, right? So, and then talking about the land of Canaan. So That region right there is hidden in the history as far as with these words. And that's what Josephus was proving when he was going through the scholarship of all these other ancient historians, these Greek historians, and these Egyptian historians, and who was being commissioned by the Greeks, like Manetho, right? But it's funny that you say Manetho don't know what he's talking about when Josephus says in one section, Manetho is right telling about this, but he's lit. But when you read, and y'all got to read the Josephus. When you read Josephus, it says that he's being misinformed by stories told from other people, as far as the details that I didn't bring them up. So it's about the further details. But as far as for the gist of it, I showed you in my presentation where he says this account is true. This book, because Manetho wrote multiple books. But it's funny that you say that, because when these European scholars are debating this topic, they never say that Manetho was wrong. They never say that Josephus was wrong. And then you want to go into the archaeology. You were going into those guys. Herodotus was in the fifth century BC, and he took a trip to Egypt, and he saw all the findings in Avaris, and linked it with Goshen of the Bible, right? In which we got renamed. I told you now it's currently named Tel El Yehuda because there's no
Capone, put your charger to your phone.
Y'all can hear me?
Put your charger to your phone, bro.
Oh shit! Hey, pause my time. Good look. So it's no debate right there. I lost where I was at. I'm just gonna go right here to the Josephus though, where he proved, and he said that this was a true account of Manetho, right? Oh, where is that? Right here. Is this it? True? No, that ain't it. When he's in Josephus is saying that the Egyptians is hiding the truth. Why is he saying they hiding the truth? Right? But he said right here that this nation, they say in Manetho in another
1
book
minute.
of his says that this nation is called shepherds. And in this account of his is the truth. Right? After he just said that he was a liar in the other place, but he say right here he's telling the truth because we actually was shepherds. We actually was wandering nomads. Our forefathers was, and we're known as bywords. We're known as people from Canaan, right? Because we didn't have a kingdom until David, and by definition, David and Solomon kingdom they will be called Hyksos to the Egyptians because they'll be rulers of foreign land. Of the Levant region. They will be Aamu as well. They will be the chiefs of the Rafnu as well. Right? So I showed all that. Yeah, and you using European scholars and French scholars, that ain't gonna get you nowhere, bro. You'll see in my next round. Yeah.
That's time. Mm-hmm.
Time. We're about to move along to Humble. Humble, you ready?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right.
All right, let them know.
All right. So,
Whenever you start talking, I got you.
all right. So, my brother said a lot, but what he didn't say is what's important. My brother didn't speak to the conflation of timelines. He didn't try to clear that up, right? Because we know that they conflated timelines. And when you go into history, that's when you can see that they conflated timelines. He didn't speak to the fact that the Israelites' agriculture looked completely different from the Hyksos agriculture. The buildings look different. The way they did things, the way they dressed, the way they moved looked different. All of that looked different. He didn't speak to that. He didn't speak to the Hyksos and the Israelites worshiping different gods, right? I don't think you can ever go into history and see where the Israelites integrated Yahweh into any Egyptian deities like the Hyksos integrated Baal and Anet to Osiris and to Osiris and the Set. So these are things that he can't speak to because is the information is not there for the Israelites. One thing we do know about the Israelites is they tried their damnness to be distinct from any other culture. So you'll never find in history where the Israelites are taking other deities and integrating their own deity into other deities. You see what I'm saying? So he would have to show that. He would have to show and prove that. Also, he proved my point when he was saying that the name Israel didn't exist until 1946. So what was Jacob's name when he wrestled with God? So either the Bible is spinning a false narrative or actual history is spinning a false narrative. And so these are things that we have to take into consideration. The fact that the conflation of the timelines, he didn't show. There were, he didn't show the fact that Israel, he can't show any archaeological evidence into whereas though the Israelites share any building styles. He can't, yeah. Every Okay. So he can't show where the Israelites shared any building techniques. He can't show where the Israelites shared any military techniques. He can't show where the Israelites shared any political techniques with the Hyksos. And so when you look at these two people and you see they have different styles and different ways of doing things, how do you still sit there and say, "Oh, these must be the same people"? It's literally comparing apples to oranges and saying that oranges are apples just because they're both fruit. That does not work. You have to literally show this is a physical apple, just like this is a physical apple. So I land my plane with that right there.
Alrighty then. Wait a whole minute and 30 seconds left. Sure thing, let's go. Yeah, what you can't show and what you is gonna show, what you didn't show. We need to see the rest of this show because we almost winding down to the end of it. Was that the end of it? No, not quite.
No,
We
it's
got a little
not the
while to
end.
go.
We still got GDN's argument, Humble's
Mm-hmm.
rebuttal, and GDN's counter.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the
Mm-hmm.
end. So whatever you gotta say, y'all better say it now.
Come on now, because he said you can't show it. You ain't gonna show it. You didn't show it. What? All that, bruh.
He
All right,
absolutely
y'all
said
ready?
all that. So yeah, let him know.
All right, give me,
Mm-hmm. Let me reset that little timer right there. Mm-hmm.
And I saw that. Hold on. I'm sorry, because I need every bit of this time here.
Well, you got 5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes. Oh,
Yeah.
this is the third round, ain't it?
Sir.
Hello?
Yes.
It's 5 minutes for this round?
Yes, you have 5 minutes.
All right. That's
What?
great. All right, so we're just gonna get into it. So this round I'm gonna show this is the scholars, right? This is the scholars that I'm gonna use, and I use African scholars, not European scholars. And my first scholar is Sheikh Ata Diop, right? And it says, insofar as biblical evidence is concerned, a few details are in order. To determine the worth of the biblical evidence, we must examine the genesis of the Jew, the Shikadia. And he's saying that some of the evidence is true, right? He says, those who were become the Jews entered into Egypt numbering 70 roughs, fearful shepherds, just like the Hyksos, chased from Palestine by famine and attracted by the earthly paradise. It says the earthly paradise, the Nile Valley. That's the region of Goshen. It says, although the Egyptians had a particular horror of nomadic life and shepherds, right? I don't know why that's like that. Okay, so right here. Okay, well, man. Although the Egyptians had a particular horror of the nomadic life of these shepherds, these newcomers were first warmly welcomed thanks to Joseph. This is Sheikh Diop. He says Moses lived in the time of Tel El Amarna, when Amenhotep or Amenemhis in the Greek, the fourth, right, was trying to revive the early monotheism, which had by then been discredited by sacerdotal, I can't even say that word, what's it say, ostiations? I can't say that word. Anyway, it says, in the corruptness of the priests. He talking about Moses here. So look, it says, aided by faith, Moses led the Hebrews out of Egypt. However, the Israelites quickly tired of this religion and only gradually returned to monotheism. Right? So you see in the wilderness, they was worshiping the golden calf. So he said they got tired of the religion of the Greek. This Shi'at Diop, the African origin of civilization, myth or reality, right? This is from his book. And it says, anthropologically, right? Anthropologically, in the cultural speaking, the Semitic world was born during the proto-historic times from the mixture of white-skinned and black-skinned people in Western Asia, or Asiatics, right? That's Shi'at Diop right there. So look, and now we have Dr. Ben Yakanan, who wrote a whole book talking about we are the Black Jews. And y'all can't see this, but I'm gonna try my best so y'all can read it. It says, and we are now at the point. It says, and we are now at the point where we can establish the historical origin of the religious assembly of the people so-called Habaru, Hebrew, Israelites, and or Jews. Now this is Dr. Ben Yakanan right here, where he called them Habaru, Hebrews, Israelites, and Jews. The Hyksos was called this as well. The Hyksos, when they got a spell, this is what they was called as well. Let's go some more. Now we have Dr. Henry Clark. This is a paper by Dr. Henry Clark, right? So let's see what he say. He say in the second intermediate period, he talking about in Egypt, might be called the period of trouble. This was the period of the first massive invasion of Egypt from Western Asia, or Asiatics. It was a period of the invasion of the Hyksos, sometimes referred to as shepherd kings, just like Josephus said. It was also known to the period of first Hebrew entry into Africa that we have record of. That Hebrew entry is described, right? And he's talking about Herodotus. He's quoting Herodotus here. So right here. So that's Dr. Henry Clark, Dr. Ben Yakanan, and Sheikh Diop. And now right here we have Brother Jabari. Take it away. Hold on, let me see if it'll play, y'all. Pause my time real quick. Why that's not playing?
Okay. You got 2 minutes added to the clock, so this is your 7 minutes. So you do have 2 minutes. So you are paused.
Okay, good. So I'm just gonna play it from my phone. I don't know why that won't play. Let me just pull it up real quick. There you go. You can start it.
All right. Turn your volume up.
No. In brief, this 30 seconds. Essentially what happened is a group of people were welcomed into Kemet because they had the images, and just a few generations later they were in control. And they were really brutal rulers. Generally people call them either Shasu or the Hyksos. The Hyksos was really going to see most of it. She does almost everything. So the Hyksos.
Were they the first?
Were they
The first invaders or first?
Probably not. but they were the set stage for a long period of storm. Certainly. Other people that come in at time, right? But they're probably the earliest people foreign people that stays for an extended period. They're in control for almost 200 years. Some people argue that the Hyksos are the ancestors of people that we consider the first Jewish people or the first Arabic people. Well, you might say they probably were both.
Those same scenes are depicted in the Old Testament down to the town.
Some of them. Some of them. Now, the funny thing is that some people might say that the Jews were the ones that were in control. Well, according to the archaeological record, according to some trouble with this. According to the archaeological record, there's a mythological record. And that's important.
Y'all stop trying to we can't hear. And we need to mute his mic.
Capone, I just muted you because nobody. Can you pause his time, Kiss Happiness?
Absolutely.
Yeah, pause his time. I muted you because it's so much reverb back, it's so much echoing. We can't understand anything that brother is saying. So if you can reiterate what you think he needs to say that we need to hear, that would be better. I'm going back on mute. I'm gonna unmute you. There you go.
Oh, so he admitted that the Hyksos was the Hebrew.
Hold on. Let us start your time. Go ahead, Kiss. Let him know.
This is the brother Jabari. He's a scholar
right,
in the of Egyptology. Right here, he's admitting that the Hyksos were the Hebrews, just like Shi'at Diab did, just like Ben Yakanan did, just like John Henry Clark did. African scholars all attest to this fact because they do not deny the evidence. It's only French scholars and European scholars who has a problem with this history because they're trying to discredit the black presence of us being the children of Israel or the possibility of us being the children of Israel, because then the black people are going to start to connect the dots. And the people before us, the scholarship, they actually went into the record. They actually went into the records of Josephus and Manetho. And this brother here, though he tried to debunk the Bible a lot because they think that's a European presence, but right here, he's admitting that the Jews and the Hebrews and the Hebrew Israelites are the Hyksos, and he just admitted it right there.
All right, that's your minute.
That is your minute. That is your last.
But that's the I can send y'all that.
We're about to Humble for his rebuttal.
No, y'all like that one.
Yes, we did. We did like that one. Go ahead, Humble. Let us know when you're ready.
All right. Most definitely. I'm ready. Okay, so the brother brought up Second to Diop. Second to Diop has many books out here. He got a lot of books out here talking about Africa. I think he got a book called, the brother was quote from, the black presence in the civilization in Africa. However, he never conflate the Israelites with the Hyksos in none of these books. He will call them Semitic if he speak about the Hyksos. He'll say they're from the Levant region. He'll never say they're Israelites. Dr. Ben, right? Haribu is not Hyksos. Actually, there's a YouTube video. He liked to watch Sadnetta. There's a YouTube video of Dr. Ben and Shaka actually having that same discussion. Who are the Haribu? And they those people are not the same people of the Hyksos either. When we're talking about Dr. John Henry Clark, when he was talking about the Hyksos, and he said this is the first time that we seen Israelites in Egypt, he wasn't talking about the Hyksos. He was saying that because of Joseph, right? Popular thought over popular scholarship, right, suggests that Joseph entered the land of Egypt when the Hyksos were in rule. He wasn't saying the Hyksos and the Israelites were the same. No, he was clearly stating that when Joseph got to Egypt, the Hyksos was already there. However, when Joseph got to Egypt, this was the first time where we can say the Israelites stepped foot in Egypt. He wasn't saying when the Hyksos stepped foot in Egypt is the first time we seen Israelites. No, he was saying it because the first time we see Joseph enter Egypt was the first time, and that's going off a historical account. If you're going off the historical account of Joseph, it's the first time that we see Israelite presence in Egypt. When we talking about Jabari, I actually watched that video that he posted. Jabari was not saying that the Hyksos people were the Israelites. Again, he did the same thing that Dr. Clark was doing. He called them Semitic. He said they were from the Levant region. He never said they were Israelites. He said some scholars might call them and conflate them Israelites, which is true, which I showed in my second round, right? People like Josephus, people like Manetho, these people conflate and call the Hyksos Israelites. However, that before they got into Egypt, and I'm going to break down really fast what Jabari was talking about there. Before the Hyksos got into Egypt, we don't know what they were called. The only thing we know is when they got to Egypt, the Egyptians called them the Hyksos. Before, we know they were Semitic. And if you want to say the Israelites were Semitic and they were Semitic and conflate them, or that, but that's the premise that Jabari was going with. He wasn't going with saying, oh, well, these people are the same exact thing of these people. No, he's saying people conflate these things, and they often call these people Israelites. He don't say that they are Israelites. He say often people call them Israelites. And so the scholars that he named didn't do, if he used them to try to prove that the Hyksos was Israelites in any of these works, they never show that the Hyksos are Israelites. Do they talk about the Israelites? Yes. Do they talk about the
1
Hyksos?
minute.
Yes, some of them. However, none of them ever conflate the two. They talk about them as separate individuals. Now, people such as Jabari, when he's in conversation, or Henry Clark, they may put them in the same conversation just because of what the popular opinion on a biblical narrative state. But they're not going to say, according to scholarly consensus, this is what this is. When you ask them a question, they'll say, oh, yeah, well, there's biblical scholars that believe that. But they won't say, yeah, that's academically substantial. And so, again, he would have to prove doing archaeological, historical, that these two people was the same. He didn't show where I'm still waiting for him to show where the building agriculture is the same. I'm still waiting for him to show where that's my time.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, now we are going into the final counter. GDN, whatever you didn't say, you better say it now. Let Kiss know when you're ready.
So I will play it again because I heard y'all didn't hear it, so I want y'all to hear it clearly.
Yeah,
So
I think if you have headphones in or whatnot to help reduce that echo, but
no, it
you
ain't
can
gonna be an echo. That was the
okay.
that was the reverb from the West Coast. So
Mm-hmm.
let's go to it.
Okay.
It's an incredible period, but we don't usually know how it happened. In brief, and I can tell the story for you. I'm going to tell it to you in 30 seconds. Essentially, what happened is a group of people were welcomed into Kemet because they had a great family in the land. They came in, and just a few generations later, they were in control. And they were really brutal rulers. And it was Generally, people call them either the Shasu or the Hyksos. The Hyksos is the name you're going to see most often. She's doing some work here. It's almost everything. The Hyksos.
Were they the first?
Were they
the first invaders or the first?
Probably not. But they were the invaders that stayed for a long period in early.
They were the first thorn.
Certainly not. In a long period of time, there are other people that come in at different times, right? But they're probably the earliest group of foreign people that stays for an extended period. They're in control for almost 200 years. Some people argue that the Hyksos are the ancestors of the people that we consider the first Jewish people or the first Arabic people. Now, I'm going to blow your mind and say they probably were both.
Those same scenes are depicted in the Old Testament, even down to the child.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing is that some people might say that the Jews were the ones that were in control.
No, they weren't.
Well, according to the archaeological record, she's having some trouble with this. According to the archaeological record, there's a mythological record, and that's important. The mythological story is important. But when we're talking about history, we have to be clear what happened in history. And we have multiple sources that give us the story of the Hyksos and their time in Kemet. It is believed that they may be the people that become the Jews later. Why? Because when...
So you heard him. Y'all heard him. He said it is believed that they are the Jews. Y'all heard that. So I'm going to take his word over your word, right? Now, let's go here. Where I'm going. Let's go back to the presentation because I want to show you, like I'm going to take Sheikh out the Diop word over your word. You saying that. That's not what he wrote in his book, though. So let's go back to it. I got 2 minutes left. I should have 2 minutes left. So let's go back to it. Come on, right here. Bam. Where you at? Where you at? Where is he at? The last one. And it says again, and I'm quoting him again, it says, anthropologically and cultural speaking, the Semitic, is this the one? The Semitic world was born during the proto-historic times from the mixture of white-skinned and black-skinned people in Asia. Wait, is this the one? No, this one, my bad, y'all. He says, the biblical evidence concern, a few details are in order. So he's saying of the details, it's some details in the Bible that's in order. He agreed with him. This is his word. And it says, to determine the worth of the biblical evidence, we must examine the genesis of the Jew. This is what he's saying. This is his word. And he's taking all this as evidence, something that you're not doing, right? Also, he called them Hebrew, Israelites, and Jews. And then here, John Henry Clark, his words again, where he say the shepherd kings, right? Is also the period of the first Hebrew entry into Africa or into Kemet. This is what he's talking about. This is what they're saying, and he's quoting Herodotus, who wrote a book about the Israelites. Hold on, I got his book. It's right here. Egypt and the Hebrews. Oh, man. Right here. Egypt and the Hebrews in Herodotus. So these scholars agree. You don't, because you're not putting the missing piece, which is the Bible, that account that Jabari just said is a mythological account, but Sheikh Diop said this is the evidence that we have of them. And also we have who? Josephus, a historian. Hold on, let's go back to Josephus. Now let me get that grace period. So I want to read Josephus when he said it. Oh, I got it here somewhere. Where is it at? Right here. I'm just going to read it. It says, and indeed the Egyptians took many occasions to hate us and envy us in the first place because our ancestors had dominion over their country. Who is he talking about? Better yet, who are the people? Who are the slaves that Kamos and that Amos brought back? He brought over thousands, hundreds of thousands of slaves out of the expulsion of the Hyksos. Who were those people? These are the questions we need to ask. And the Bible gives you that account. Not only the Bible, if you go into the Egyptian record, it gives you the account. It gives you in the Europeans, they did the excavations for us and they opened it up to us. So now we can connect the dots. We can go into the tomb of Canaan Hotep II. We can read the Turin, the King's List. We can read the Amarna letters, right? We know the Metal Netter. And I didn't even show that. I could have went to the TLA and showed you that the Habaru is the translation for that is Hebrew. So us knowing these things. Oh, there you go. That's the time. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Time,
yes, that concludes the debate. Y'all have said there ain't nothing else to be said. We are going to the judges. First, I want to say good job to both of y'all. Y'all brought out a lot of good information. Y'all were on point. I really appreciate all the work that y'all put into it before we start talking about what people thought of it. So, just a reminder, y'all did a great job. With that being said, we're gonna start with God Energy. You can say everything that you need to say at this point. Any questions that you want to ask to the debaters, and please remember to let me know what you scored each debater for each round. Floor is yours.
Okay. First, I want to say congratulations to both of the debaters. Y'all both did a good job. Y'all both used, a variety of sources and pieces of data, ranging from archaeology to, different texts, rings and things like that, excavations. So shout out to y'all for the pedigree of information that was presented. I like in Humble's first round, the different sources, Manfred Biotech, the +1 study of archaeology, the Smithsonian chemical analysis. You mentioned the archaeological excavations at Tel El Dabah. Encyclopedia Britannica was also used. I like how you highlighted the differences in the culture and the warfare that was brought in, the agriculture that was introduced, the integration, the difference in the integration. You requested a King's List, as some proof, primary evidence. You even used the Bible as a reference, and I feel like highlighting the difference in the culture that was introduced during the Hyksos period versus the Israelite period was what set the round for you. And I definitely feel like GD and Capone introducing us to some classical scholars such as Josephus, but then also referencing the Manetho within that text. Definitely the introduction of Hieronymus via Josephus as well. I feel like that was a highlight for your first round. And in that round, though, there was a mention of who these Hyksos or might be associated with, and the land that kept coming up was Canaan. I saw Canaanite when the Amarna letters were mentioned and different material culture. Then the Habaru were brought into this, but that statement of the Hyksos of the Israelite didn't quite shine through, right? So for that, I'm gonna give Humble a 6 on the round, and I'm gonna give GDN a 5 on the round. And then Humble for your second round. You definitely attack your opponent's point on that with the rebuttal about Josephus and the use of Manito. But getting into the difference of Semitic being more of a language classifier versus a bloodline thing, setting up your point for the conflation argument. I definitely liked showing that the difference between the Hyksos and no, hold on. Oh, the Wolfgang Helk and Donald Redford, right? Explaining the conflation there, because you set up the conflation argument with the Semitic being a language thing versus a bloodline, and then you got to it with the Wolfgang Helk. GDN, I know you went into the Sekenre period and Amos and Kamos, right? I like bringing out the Ipuwer papyrus. That's one that I like a lot. Presenting us with some primary evidence. Also mentioning the Amarna letters. But again, with the Amarna letters, it brings us to Canaanite that was mentioned. So, and then also how they were called the Amuru or the Amur, right? So we were looking for, the Hyksos are Israelites, you know what I mean? But even with the information you were presenting, words like Canaanite were attached, words like Amuru were attached, words like Habiru were mentioned. So that's where I feel like that kind of was you cut but got cut as well. So with that, I'm gonna give Humble a 6 for that round, and GDN I'm gonna give you the 4 for that round. Because in the rebuttal, I think you also misquoted him about the mixed multitude thing. For the third round, I definitely like how both contestants went into the pedigree of their sources, especially bringing out, the Black scholarship, Sheikh Auntie Diop, Dr. Ben, Dr. John Henrik Clark, and then Humble with the scholars you brought out, Kenneth Kitchen, Wolfgang Helk, William G. Dever, John Von Cedars. So I also like how that represented how each debater structured the battle, and it shows, how great minds think alike. Because if you notice, the emphasis on the scholars, their pedigree, what the scholars are saying verbatim, word for word. Each opponent put that at the very end. So I do feel like that was good there. But in that third round, again, we kept getting into restating Josephus and his position on two Manetho texts that don't agree with each other. Right. So in the conclusion of this third round, it was largely based off of, I feel like GDN's argument was largely based off of Josephus's opinion on two conflicting Manetho texts. And we had firmly, absorbed that Josephus preferred the latter Manetho text that uses the term shepherd. Okay, we definitely got that. But in the evidence that was shown, words like Canaanite kept coming up. Words like Amuru kept coming up. Habiru kept coming up, which then led you to have to connect Habiru, Amuru, Canaanite, whilst at the same time Humble was bringing up, you cannot conflate these different groups and citing these things, right? So that pull away victory with that, I think it came up short. So again, in the third round, I'm going to give Humble the 6, and GDN is going to get the 4.
Thank you for your thoughts. I appreciate you for judging tonight. I know it was last minute. J-Mo,
No
it's on you.
I'm running my mouth and shit. Let's see. Yeah, congratulations to both of the contestants. I think both of you have done very well, and you know Y'all did your homework on a lot of things, but I don't know whether I should give the scores out first or give my questions out first, but I think I'll do the score first. First round, GDN 4 and Humble 5. Because the introductions were, pretty much, even on that. Second round, I gave GDN a 5 and I gave Humble a 6. Reason being is because he brought up a very valid point about this year gap. And I've been looking on my side as well, and I've been like, well, there's a big gap between the actual Hyksos coming into Egypt versus the Israelites coming into play there. I think that's a lot. I want to hear, how did you cover this year? Because I'm looking at this here, and that puts it probably around a good maybe 13, 1400 years, like well over a millennia. So I don't see how you could tie them to West Asian rulers. But I want to, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna listen. But third round, I gave both of them a 6, and I did that because even though Humble came out swinging, really, like, because he was like, "Look, man, third round here, it's time to really, put the gloves on." But then GD and Capone also put the gloves on too by going to the Bobbers, by going to the great John Henry Clark and Dr. Ben, and these is verified heavy hitters in the conscious community and outside of it as well. So I had to give them both an even round for that. But I'm trying. And another question I wanted to ask: I don't remember seeing the Asians on the 12 tribes chart. Like, what tribe do they come from? Unless I'm missing something, I don't know. And then my other question is, why would Asians use a Greek name for an Egyptian title unless this was done during the Ptolemy period? Because that's the only time I can see a Greek influence being held in Egypt. It's not before. If it didn't happen before that, then I don't see how that came into play. But like I said, I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna see what y'all answers are for these questions, because this is very interesting from this point. But yeah, I gave the score. Did you get them all, Queen?
Yes,
I
I
sent them all
did.
out, right? Okay,
Yeah,
okay, all
I
right,
got them all.
yeah, okay. Yeah, that's it. I ain't trying to draw it out too long. Like I said, good job on both ends, but I think there's a little bit more validation that needs to be done on your end, GDN, because I don't know how you will cover this gap. But you see, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you for your thoughts, and you too. I appreciate you for judging, because this was definitely last minute. GDN, I got you in a second. Whatever you have to say, write it down. We're gonna go to Ashe, because right now this is the judges portion. Ashe, you ready?
All right, yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and get a brother Humble a 6 on that first round. I'm gonna give my brother GD Capone a 4. My main reason on that is just because when the brother
Wait,
Humble
I'm
came out with the
sorry.
cherry,
You kind of blanked out when you said GDN's number.
I'm gonna give him a 4.
Okay, got
And
you.
the reason for that is you lose points with me. You lose points with me with fallacy. When he said chariots, we see Abraham. He brought chariots. We don't. That wasn't substantiated. Abraham. We don't really see the chariot thing. Maybe herders and cattle. Maybe they had cattle and things of that nature. Y'all see that? Um, yeah. So that was the fallacy there. So when we move on to the second round, when the brother came out with the maps, it was the map for me in the second round. It was the map. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go 5, 6, second round, Humble, 6, 5 going on to GD. And when he brought out the map and he showed us where the Hyksos dynasty will be hailing from, and then he showed us where the Israelites are hailing from, it wasn't the same. Also, when we go into the time gap, also when we speak about the Assyrian, not the Assyrian, but the Hyksos dynasty. The Hyksos had a dynasty, a whole dynasty period where they assumed throne. So, like I asked for it, but was not given it. We never seen these Hebrew Israelite, these Israelites taking the throne in Kemet, in Egypt. They never rule in Egypt. They never take the throne. But the Hyksos do. The Hyksos actually ruled there for hundreds of years under the title of Nasus. And then with the third round, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go 5-6 again because GD, you were heavy with the sourcing. You were heavy with the sourcing, but it was like nitpicking through the information, especially when we get to the Sheikh Entidia. So like that was a cross contextualization of the biblical story versus a myth, and I've actually read that book, and that was like a nitpick of the information. Also, when we get to the brother Humble brought out how the Manito versus Josephus and the many just things that didn't add up with Josephus's works. And when also he brought out the fact that Josephus was coming with a certain level of agenda. So there was a lot of things propagated by Josephus. And if anybody's read any of Josephus' works, pretty sure you can agree. So that's just brief. That's just me. That's it.
So let me be clear. You said 6-5 and you're giving the third round to Humble. So he has 6 and you're giving GDN 5.
Right.
Okay, just making sure. So there you have it. We have our scoring, and we just have to go to the audience for their scores. So at this point, I would ask everyone to stop sending gifts, no lotteries, so I can be able to count out the votes. So if we are voting for Humble Mystic, I would like you to put a 1 in the comments, and please no double voting. 1 in the comments for Humble Mystic.
So just 4 of y'all.
Right. I refuse to believe it's only 4, but I'm going to give it another second because maybe they really feel like GDN won this. Who knows?
Well, 2. Let me find out you putting Ashe.
Not yet, honey. Not yet.
Right.
And now we
You're a
are
1,
going
John.
to...
Okay, that's fine. It ain't
Right.
time for
We're
y'all to
going
put 2s in the comments. Yeah, y'all got
to... Right. They thirsty to vote for GDN. I'm about to switch it over. If you want to vote for GDN, please put a 2 in the comments. 2 in the comments.
I know, right? God energy. That's what's tweaking me right now. Can I get what?
Now, the audience participation tonight is on level 1. I don't know what's
Okay,
going
what
on
are y'all
any other
doing?
time. As much shit y'all been talking in these comments, y'all trying to tell me that y'all not trying to vote?
So
That's what
nobody?
y'all saying?
Oh. Mm. Lick y'all ass up. No,
Right?
I couldn't help it. I'm sorry.
This
Lick
is
her.
this is the time where all of that talking that y'all was doing actually counts.
Right. Oh, really? Let me find out y'all playing. I'm
Well,
just saying. Okay. 6 people voted. Or was it 7? 6, 7? 7 people?
either way, I'm giving it to Humble.
Yeah. It ain't going. Mm.
So for
Okay, okay.
anybody, y'all want to unmute? Y'all can say what y'all wanted to say, y'all thoughts while I get these points together. I'm gonna do the little drum roll, and we're gonna say who won. Before I say who won, I just want to see if anybody has anything to say.
Mm.
He
Anybody?
asked, do I answer his
We just
question?
heard you for 10 minutes. And
If you want, you can
2:30.
answer the question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because he said something about I didn't explain the gap theory. What the gap? What gap is you talking about? Preferably in the debate, I showed you, I walked you through from the start. I showed you those terms, what they actually mean. Semitic, Asiatic. I showed you all that from
No, no, no,
the
no, no, no,
Cyclopedia
no. I think
Britannica.
you're not understanding what I'm asking. I'm asking from the time. Okay, it says here that they ruled between 1638 and 1530 BCE. You do know that BCE. I mean, BC don't mean before Christ. It means before Common Era. So it's before
Right,
they even
BCE.
had this walk. So I'm saying, like, that's a. You know how long that is? For
What is
Yes,
1800, so,
before
okay,
common
so they're
error?
coming from
yes.
1800
That's why
BCE
I
all the way down to when the Israelites came into play.
yes.
What
That's
is
why
before
that's what
common error?
Excuse me?
What is before common error?
What do you mean what's before Common Era? That's the
You
age
said
date.
BC don't mean before
Ramses
Christ,
is
but
not
it's the same
Ramses is not the
terminology.
pharaoh of
The
that.
reason
No, it
why
does.
it's not
No,
called
no. Before
it's the
BC is not
That's
before
not
Christ. BC
the
means
pharaoh.
before Common Era.
it means
Only
before
the
common
religious.
error,
That's
but
like
it's the same thing.
no. It's no.
Yeah.
Goodness. If you're going to use the
It's
right term, that's the correct term for it.
it's the
It's not
same. You know why it's the
BC.
same? Because people didn't want to use religious connotations to use Christ. So it's
Well,
the
but
same
but regardless,
terminology.
I mean, the shit is we still
Okay.
have from 16. Okay, let's just say all right. It says here, Hyksos were nomadic people who migrated from West Asia into Egypt shortly after 1800 BCE. Right?
Mm-hmm. Now take 400 years from that.
Ashe, I see you. Once they figure out
The
When
J-Mo's
Exodus was
question,
in.
I'm gonna
but
That's
get
when
to
did
why
it
I
too.
probably didn't state that. I probably didn't state that. So the answer.
when did the Israelites come into play?
I'm
When?
telling you, the Hyksos is the Israelites. The kingdom of Israel. They don't
That's
become a
too far of an
king.
age gap. Is what I'm. I mean, it's too
But,
far of
but
a year
listen,
gap.
listen. This is because you don't understand the Bible.
Because
If
Jesus
you don't
died in
understand the
33
historical
AD.
sources, okay, I'm not gonna
Right?
say you don't understand.
Um,
In the sources that I reference,
You don't
historically,
you say it's
that's
the
why I
same
went to
thing.
the
It's not the
Encyclopedia
same thing.
Britannica, and it shows you that the kingdom of Israel was in 930. That's when they became a kingdom. But before that, you have a period of the judges, which was a 300-year
What
period.
year did you
Then
just
you have,
say?
come on, man. All right, I'm done. Listen,
I
brothers,
asked
listen.
what year did you just said 930, right?
That's the
I have a question.
kingdom of Israel, the kingdom. They wasn't known as a kingdom because they was wandering in the wilderness for 40
So
years.
so do the math,
I,
sir. From
before
1800
we
to
do
Then
900,
they
how many
then they
years
had a
is that?
period. Hold on, listen. Then they had a period of 300 years where they had judges. They didn't put a king over them until David, and that was in the year of what I say one that's in the millennium, the millennium, the turn of the
Come on,
millennium
man.
of BCE, right? The 10th century BCE. That's when they become a kingdom, right there. And
I
that's why
just
it says in 930, because that's when they built. That's when Solomon built the kingdom, built the temple. And now everybody know them as Israel. But before they knew them as nomadic people, shepherds, Semitic people, and Asiatic
So
people. And
how
he,
long of a year gap is that?
hold on. Those are
Okay.
English words.
Wow.
In dialects in that region, that would have been Amu, Abaru, Habaru, um, Hyksos when they was in Egypt. And I showed all that stuff, and I that's why I went through the words first. Then I went to the history in Josephus, in Herodotus, in Hecatus, who wrote a whole book on the Jews, right? In Manetho. and when y'all saying, and he's saying that Manito could
This
face
isn't
with
even
Josephus,
answering my
but I
question.
showed you,
This isn't
but I
answering my
showed you
question.
what I
I
just
gotta.
did.
This
Wait,
isn't
hold on,
I
answering my.
just
y'all. Wait,
did.
wait,
Then
hold
that
on,
just
Listen,
hold
said
on.
you said
listen.
from
If
now.
you
I'm
count
using
those
your
years,
numbers now.
listen, J-Mo, if you
I'm
count
using
those
your
years,
numbers now.
count them
Guess
up, J-Mo.
what?
Say,
Listen, J-Mo,
Guess
you have to
what?
count them up.
Guess what?
this is
Guess what?
crazy.
It's an after party for all of this.
Yeah, that's the
Cause
Yes,
y'all,
part.
This is
we
weird,
gotta move
man.
on
Like, yo,
because we
what
you
have
the
know what I'm
fuck
other
is this?
saying?
judges with other
I'm sitting
That,
here
questions,
that show
looking
right?
you
at it.
y'all
You
was
telling me
biased.
these
It's
years don't
cool.
make no
That
And
show
y'all
sense.
you
still
was
going,
biased.
huh?
I'm like,
Oh,
you're not. Are you
okay.
using
You
math?
might have to
So
blame.
you
Okay, first mute of the night. I said that we gotta move on. Like, I get that y'all going back and forth, but that's what the after party is about. So let's save some of that spice for the after party. And also, Ashe had a question as well. So we're gonna go to Ashe and we're gonna see if any of the other judges wanted to say anything as well. And it's also open for the other people on the panel. And if our fact checker, Yashar, has any information that he might have fact checked on his own, or if not, no pressure. You could just say, no, you didn't do it. And we're just going to move on. Ashe, ask your question.
You talking
Oh,
about?
wow.
This is
Okay.
ridiculous.
you ain't ready, J-Mo.
You
Wow.
might really, all right, all right. So
This is
I want
simple
to ask
math.
you. I want to ask you guys both a question. Just to get the answer real quick. I gotta get understanding and really kind of close the case on if I'm biased or you know. Um, when were were the Hyksos before or after? Was the Hyksos dynasty before or after Ramses II?
Before Ramses is not. Look, and let me clarify this.
Okay, okay. You
Ramses
said before.
is
You said
not the.
before. And,
Okay.
and, and Ramses is adopted in the same royal family as Moses, correct?
No, no,
No,
no. Ramses is
no.
in the New Kingdom. Ramses the second is in the New Kingdom period. He's the second pharaoh in the New Kingdom period.
So you're going. So
We're talking
Moses.
about the
It,
second intermediate period.
I'm
Well,
sorry. I'm sorry, but sources saying sources definitely denying that. Ramses is also mentioned. Ramses is also mentioned. Was
What are we doing
Ramses?
here?
Ramses is also mentioned in the Bible as the relative of Moses. So what are we? Yeah, yeah. I
No,
kind of
he's
yield
not.
there.
No,
I
he's
yield
not.
there.
That's a lie. Show me the
oh
scripture.
wow.
Oh, wow.
It says they. It says.
While
Oh,
Ashe
go
or
ahead. Go ahead.
somebody go and get the scripture, we're going to move on to God Energy because he as well had a question. Go ahead, God Energy.
Hmm.
Um, aside from the timeline thing, because that's a relevant conversation. Depending on it, especially depends on which pharaoh you're saying is the pharaoh of the Bible, because a lot of people or earlier in biblical scholarship, Ramses was associated with being the pharaoh during the time of Moses. But a lot of people point out, GDM might agree that the specific name of the pharaoh is at that point. But the building of the city of Pi-Ramesses is what led people to think Ramesses was the
Exactly.
pharaoh of that time. But people that do biblical history today in modern time, you got to line up the biblical narrative with actual history. I think they favor a different pharaoh. I forgot specifically the pharaoh's name, but there is another pharaoh that biblical scholars like to use instead of Ramesses. And I think that pharaoh might put the timeline a little more favorable to the Hyksos hypothesis.
Right. So the thing is, and I just want to respond real quick. The thing is, allow me 2 minutes. The thing is that the damn, what else? The thing is about the gap thing, right? They already said that those two cities was rebuilt by Ramses. Those cities was rebuilt after the I don't want to say the second intermediate. It is after the second intermediate period, but it's part of the new kingdom. Once the new kingdom come with the Thutmose dynasty, after their reign, after the Thutmose, after the last one was Akhenaten. When Ramses come into play, now his dynasty, he started to rebuild those cities in that same area. The thing is about this debate is that it's it's time constricting, and it's a lot more that we can go into. I could have went into the about the area of Avaris and all that stuff. But mainly, I wanted to walk you through the process of the Hyksos and their expulsion, and then the capture of them. Who exposed them, and then they captured them and made them slaves. And then we have a account, the nation of the impure, which account of the period of the plagues. Also, it's other, and that's what I'm saying about it being time constricting, because it's other things as well but that's as far as who is Moses and who is the actual Pharaoh of the Exodus. It's multiple pharaohs. That's one thing you have to understand, because that we're dealing with a period of time from when you get to Exodus, you have all of Joseph people dying off, his whole generation, then a new dynasty coming, new pharaohs, then you have Moses going through a period of 120 years. Well, 40 years before he left Egypt, and then came back 40 years later. Then you have the Israelites, the Exodus, and Moses at 80, and then a period of 40 years in the wilderness. Now, if you know anything about the pharaohs, a lot of them didn't rule past 40 years. There's only one that did. And you go through it, and then that's with the Thutmose dynasty. And that's why I showed you the period before the Thutmose dynasty, which was I can't say his name. Kamos and Amos and their father. How they actually had a war with the Hyksos and then exposed them and then captured them. And I showed you in the Josephus. And that's another thing. If y'all don't read the Josephus, I advise you to, because Josephus never say that Ramses is the Pharaoh. Nor do the Bible says that Ramses was the Pharaoh. They just say Pharaoh, which means great house. So it's talking about a dynasty. So go ahead. In the Hebrew.
Judges, Yashar, do y'all have anything else that y'all want to add? Because I'm about to announce the winner. I'm going to take that silence as a no. So, with that being said, I'd like to give a round of applause for Humble for winning this debate on if the Hyksos. The final score tallies at 54-42, and it's on Humble. And I would like to thank everybody for participating. Both of y'all did an amazing job. I saw a lot of work, a lot of academia brought to the table, and I really do appreciate it. Chris Happiness, do you want to say anything to the people before I close out?
After the show, it's the after party. Yeah. After the party, it's the hotel lobby. Yeah. After the Belvy, then it's probably Chris. And after the original, it's probably yes, my Fiesta remix with the homie from the Midwest side. Yeah, you recognize me.
Y'all come over, please bring y'all own drinks. I'm not messing about this. I ain't got no open bar for y'all tonight. But y'all most definitely can come over. Make sure y'all bring some beans and don't be mean, because I am an official host. The Debate Call Society will now be hosting this after party as soon as it's the queen decides to push them buttons with her little beautiful fingers. And we gonna be drinking till 6 in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I apologize for the time.
Absolutely. That was a
Okay, can I
beautiful
say
segue.
how I felt about it, or are we done? We closing out.
Are we closing
Are we
out
done or
and
are
we're
we
going to
through?
save your thoughts for the
Congratulations,
after
man.
party?
Okay, I'm saying mine first in Kiss Room then.
Okay, you raising your hand now for later? I got you.
I know.
Right, type shit.
Write that down. Thank y'all for coming out. I really, really do appreciate it. Remember, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Debate That Cause Society, and also the Duel of Concepts. Um, boy, I'm tired.
I just want to say
We had
shout out to Kiss Happiness, and it's a queen with, you know what I'm saying, collabing with each other. I just want to say, as somebody that's been here around debates for a long time, you rarely see these collabs. You rarely see two beautiful women coming together, collabing when you both do debates, no competition. So I just really want to thank y'all once again, and I appreciate y'all. I'm here to support y'all through thick and thin, whether we get on each other's nerves or not. This is what the freak I love, when Black people are coming together. We are not competing unless we debating. Okay. Thank you. Spider, see you in the next room.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, thank y'all. Thank everybody for all the gifts y'all gave, all the lotteries. Actually staying here for about how many hours we was here waiting for GDM late ass.
Girl, we been
But
here
we
since 7
still had a
o'clock.
good time while we were here.
I thought I was 45 minutes late. I
Now you
came
about
at
an hour
30.
and 45 minutes late, honey.
Eastern Standard Time. You was an hour and 45 minutes late, sir.
Oh, damn,
Order in the
Eastern
court.
time. Damn. Yeah, I was
Mm-hmm.
asleep. My
Yeah.
bad. I apologize for that. But I appreciate y'all still
You did. You
waiting
did.
and going through with it
You did.
and allowing me to present the information that I put a lot of preparation and study into. And
All right.
congratulations, y'all.
All right
Absolutely.
now.
Like it was not lost upon us. Y'all both worked very, very, very hard. I see y'all work and y'all brought up some good information and I appreciate it. So with that being said, I am passing this over to Kiss because y'all know this is past my bedtime.
It's past mine too, but I'm gonna keep it up.
Right, but I'm gonna
I'm
see
lying.
y'all over there. So I'm gonna just pass this over you, sis, and I'll see you over there.
All right.
Thanks for coming out. Good night.